to the Challenger. Here's some from sort of a looking back edition of newspapers. It says the Challenger 7 explodes and actually it wasn't even up in space. It was up in the sky and had only been launched a short time before, and it blew up. And all of the astronauts, including that woman astronaut, was killed. There are some who say this could have been an occult ritual. In fact, I've done a whole video called The Eagle Has Landed that discusses that very crazy, but, well, is it a possibility? Some would say you're paranoid to think such things. I say study, investigate, and then decide for yourself. Here is another edition of our own local newspaper talking about the Challenger accident. The very name Challenger, was it a challenger to Lucifer? Was this some kind of strange occult ritual? And there's the crew, all of them, dead. But of course, that wasn't the first thing, bad thing to happen to NASA. Here from Final Frontier magazine is this feature story, $80 billion blunder. Then in USA Today, here's a list. It says past space accidents. Whole list of them. Past space accidents. The date and the incident that occurred. Sounds sinister. Then, as far as the overall Star Wars or space program, Great Britain, of course, has been working with us on this. Isn't it interesting? This newspaper item that hit the Associated Press, United States, baffling case of 10 dead scientists. One after another, scientists working on the Star Wars program were found dead. Most of mysterious causes over in Great Britain. We move from the potential murder of astronauts, could it be, to the hoaxes. Some people say that the whole moonshot landing was a hoax. We never went to the moon. We're going to look at that in just a moment here. Let's just look at some of the books that have come out on this subject. Moongate. Really? We never went to the moon. Here's another book, a very thick book, powerful book, Dark Moon. People are blowing the whistle now, they say. Here, a good friend of mine, Renee, published this book. Self-educated engineer, a brilliant man, NASA mooned America. This entire book shows that technologically and engineering-wise, we could not possibly have landed on the moon in 1969 as we stated we did. And by the way, this very picture supposedly proves that. There were 2 astronauts who supposedly landed on the moon, who actually walked on the moon. We've talked about that a little bit earlier. Buzz Aldrin, 33rd degree, and Neil Armstrong. But look at this picture. Notice that in the visor, in the headpiece of this astronaut, is the other astronaut across the way. He has no camera in his hand. Who took the picture? Some people believe, in fact, there was an entire movie that was created by Hollywood called Capricorn 1. It starred, of all people, O.J. Simpson, the murderer. Most people think he was a murderer. O.J. Simpson, the great football star, who was tried but found, excuse me, let me clear my throat if you know what I mean, innocent of killing his wife and a young man. Started in the movie Capricorn 1. And this movie proposed that a actual movie set had been set up in a huge aircraft hangar or some building of some sort out in the desert in a rough area. And they filmed the whole thing. They created it all on film. And that's why the images are so grainy and everything. They didn't want you to see all the detail and such of that flight. By the way, Renee had these pictures, and this has been in a number of magazines and newspapers. This was in the spotlight some years ago. Let's look at these in sequence. Here we have the first picture. It's an astronaut. And according to NASA, this is an astronaut who's rehearsing for a space shot. He's rehearsing. He's in a capsule, and he's just rehearsing for a space shot. Then the next picture actually shows an astronaut in space. But look very carefully. You'll see that this is the same picture, the same astronaut in every way. He's simply reversed, a reverse out, as you can do with negatives. Look at these. You see the same thing here. On one side, you see the astronaut, and you see he's inside their trailer or their cabin, whatever it is that they do their rehearsals and their training mission. And in the other, they say he's actually walking in space. This was a photograph. The astronaut is supposedly actually walking in space. You know what they did? They just dropped the background. It's the same photograph. Exactly. One back here on Earth while they were rehearsing, the other supposedly in space, but it's the same photograph. A little bit monkeying, would you not say, with reality? Here's an item in a magazine, Media Bypass. Was it only a paper moon? Well, NASA put out this information. It was put in the U.S. News and World Report. It said, yes, we did go on the moon. Here's a picture. And guess what? This astronaut here on the moon is giving a Masonic sign, apparently, with his arm. Sign of a master mason. Very interesting. Probably, by the way, probably the best known refuter and the guy that wrote the best known book says we never went to the moon was a man named Bill Casing. We'd like to give him credit for his work. We've covered a lot of strange things. Maybe we'll end with this quote. This quote from Abraham Lincoln. He once said, you may fool all of the people some of the time. You can even fool some of the people all of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. Well, my friends, a century later, movie producer Joseph Levine summed up a new reality. He stated, you can fool all of the people all of the time if the advertising is right and the budget is big enough. Maybe that's what we've really been seeing in all of this witchcraft and the illusion and the pageantry of the space program. But of course, there is a real, my friends. There are many counterfeits here. We really can't trust man here on earth. We should not lean on man, but there's one you can lean on. And when we look past the oddities and the strange things and the weirdness and all of the stagecraft of mankind, we can point to the reality of God. He does exist. He is Lord, and he's Lord of the entire universe, including this planet and all the stars you see in the sky. This has been Tex Mars. May God richly bless you.